Hi guys, I hope that you're all safe and well. Mitch here. I'm just coming on to do this week's Facebook card reveals for you all. So, if you have been drawn to card 1, you are working and have the energy of Kuan Yin around you. And the card just says here, compassion. Now, Kuan Yin's really interesting because this is actually who I work with in terms of my healing. So the violet flame healing is attuned to Kuan Yin's energy lines, you know. So this is really, really interesting on a sort of personal level, I find, with this one. But the card of compassion, I think for me more than anything, this is about being compassionate to fellow human, to fellow man, because so many of us are going through trials, tribulations, battles, physically as well as spiritually and mentally, that we don't always communicate, that we don't always have prior knowledge to. And being compassionate for our fellow man, there's so much greed, there's so much anger, there's so much kind of hostility to people at the moment. We really have to bring it back into source. So compassion is not necessarily always understanding fully someone's situation, but it's being compassionate to that person. It's not feeding into the sort of negative energy lines. It's trying to sort of see things from a healing space ultimately. It's like the other day, I put the post up about beautiful Sally Morgan and the sad news of her passing with her beautiful husband John. Now I know that he was a character that divided opinion. He was a little bit black and white in his thoughts and sometimes his communications, and he got himself in trouble. And I know that there are a lot of people that actually really don't like some of the things he did or said, at certain parts of his life. And I just think at the end of the day, and it's like with Sally Morgan, she divides opinion because she's become very famous and very well known. Her mediumship gets critiqued so much more than that of others, which aren't in the sort of spotlight to the same degree. And that's a perfect example of compassion. At the end of the day, regardless of what you think of them as people, that is a beautiful soul that is grieving the loss of her husband, and they've shared every sort of day together. So that is going to be tough for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're in the public eye or the spotlight, or if you're more sort of Joe Blogs on the street. The pain, the hurt, the feelings are going to be there. They're going to be the same. So it's about having compassion, and sending the love, sending the healing to that situation, not sort of tarnishing. I saw some really awful comments on some posts, nothing in my group, but on certain posts, really sort of narrow-minded people saying, oh, she should have known or seen that come in. And it's not helpful. It's really not. It's just nasty. It's just really ignorant, So this is about looking at your personal world and looking where you're feeding your energies, your inputs and your outputs at the moment. How are you responding to things? How are you being with stuff? Are you sort of seeing things from a compassionate space, or are you taking things that are a bit maybe more of a personal attack, when maybe actually there's more to the story than meets the eye? Sometimes it's very quick, isn't it, to prejudge a situation without fully understanding it or knowing everything. And it's about remembering that what's one of the basic sort of traits as being human, we all deserve compassion. Our story is all very different from each other, but there are going to be times in our life where we all struggle and we all have to go through healing and different things. And nobody really knows how we're feeling as a person, and nobody gets to tell us how we're feeling. That's something that is bespoke to us. But have compassion for fellow man. Don't sort of try and be negative or nasty or whatever. And if somebody isn't for you, send them love. Don't send them hurt. Don't sort of freeze them out of your life and do all of these negative things. I know sometimes it has to be done, but a lot of the time we're very quick to go in with those energies rather than think, actually this person has maybe let me down or has wronged me, but I'm going to send them love. I'm not going to send them hurt or frustration. I'm just going to send them an abundance of love. A lot of the time people don't do that, and if people could do that a bit more, the world would be such a more magical place. So this is a really interesting card, compassion, but I just feel it's being mindful of energy around you and being compassionate for yourself compassionate around you, but also people being compassionate towards you as well. So maybe you are someone struggling and needing to sort of really feed into that a little bit more. It's an interesting card, that one. Now, as we move forward, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name probably of this next goddess. So I do apologise, because I'm more than likely going to say this wrong. But as we're kind of moving into card 2, we're going into the goddess of Scythia. I think I might have just about said that right. It's probably wrong. But if you can see the spelling of that, I'll say it to you. It's S-E-A, as in the sea, T-H-A-C-H. Scythia. I don't think I've said that right at all, but you know, that's what I'm sort of taking it to be. That's how my dyslexia is seeing that word. But boundaries. Okay, now she looks quite powerful. She reminds me of Annie Lennox a bit in this card. She's got that sort of look about her. I think it's the kilt as well. But boundaries is a really, really interesting card. To me, this is a card of psychic and spiritual protection. Okay, and often when we have to put a boundary in place, the only person or the only people that kick off about the boundary being set are the ones that were abusing it or taking advantage of it in the first place. You know, I mean, with some of the way I've had to work at the moment, I've had some really negative and some really hostile comments and things thrown at me in recent sort of months. And this year, I think the whole lessons for me on a personal level have definitely been about boundary setting, you know, because there were people in my life, clients as well as friends and different people, that unfortunately didn't have respect for the boundaries that I had in place. And they've been the people that have kicked off about it. So, you know, when someone is moaning at me that I'm not opening my doors to the public anymore, and that the work is on Zoom or Facebook video chat, there are people that have got quite nasty with me and quite invasive. And, you know, I just think, well, those are the people I shouldn't be reading for, because obviously if you can't respect my boundary and the reasons as to why I've instilled that boundary, then you don't actually deserve to sort of have the service in the first place. So people will kick off with the boundary sometimes. But don't question it. If you've set it for a reason, and if you know why that reason has been set, don't question your connection, your ability. So, you know, this is about being really sort of true, really authentic, even if it does divide opinion, even if people don't like what you have to say or the reasons as to why you've had to sort of put something in place. Like I say, the only people that would ever disrespect a boundary are those that are actually taking advantage of it in the first instance. You know, I really do feel that. And this is having enough bravery and enough strength to say, enough, I'm not prepared to go through those situations, those cycles anymore. And again, sending away with love. You know, if somebody gets hostile with me, yes, I might get a little bit frustrated and a bit irritated, but I try within my power. I have a little bit of a rant first, but then I try to send them away with love, because ultimately it's no good holding on to their frustration. Why would I want to take that on as my own? And that's the other thing with boundaries. It's learning to let go of other people's junk and not take it on as if it is your own. It's holding space and thinking, yeah, thanks, but no thanks, that's not mine. You can take that back and I'll just hold on to what I need. So an interesting card, but I definitely think a lot of us are being challenged with this at the moment. And if you've been drawn to card 3, we are going into Queen of Sheba. And this is the card of negotiation. Now, negotiation is interesting because negotiation can be sometimes creating some sort of contract or a deal, but also sometimes this is actually just sort of spiritually and physically negotiating your way through life. So maybe when this card shows you, you know, you've been up against quite a lot of trials and tribulations, you might have been up against quite a lot of dead ends or side roads that haven't really led to anywhere, and maybe you are having to rethink, maybe you are having to change your focus, and maybe you're physically having to negotiate the direction or the change of circumstances that you're taking, or you know, the direction you're heading into. I think so many of us have had to be doing that in so many ways over the last couple of years, because we've all had to really, you know, navigate and negotiate different sort of ways of doing stuff, different ways of being, and we're all excelling, we're all doing that to the best of our capabilities. I'm not saying that it's straightforward or that it's easy, because it's definitely not, but I see this card a little bit like the Chariot within the tarot. And what I really feel with this, it's about moving forward. It's about actively drawing a line energetically in the sand with the things that have been concluded and that can't be changed, and giving yourself permission to move forward, to negotiate and to navigate the pathway that you want to be on, you know, the place that you want to be in, rather than kind of compromising or just getting by. So this is interesting, and because we've got the camel, it might not be particularly sort of fast paced. It could be quite a slow change of circumstances. It's quite sort of slow and methodical sometimes, but you'll get there in the end. It's all about investing in self and going after what you really want to experience. And it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but by holding that focus and that vision, eventually you will be able to negotiate yourself into a much more comfortable space that you want to be in, that's going to work for you. So it is about being the queen, tapping into that vibration and owning, you know, your place within the world. So an interesting card, that one. So going to leave these with you. I hope they make sense. Stay safe and stay well. Don't forget, guys, for those that wish to come along, next Monday is my charity demonstration of music and mediumship with the beautiful spiritual medium, Mel Staton. Going to be fabulous to work alongside her, and we're joined by the lead singer and vocalist of the band The Fabulous Red Diesel, Kate Lee Ryan. Really excited to do a collaboration of music and mediumship. All the money raised is going to Pyros, I said it right that time, which is prevention of suicide for younger people and families that have been affected by anybody lost through suicide. Tickets are £10. It's all on Zoom. It's Monday next week, Monday the 4th. You can go to my website direct, and if you go to the shop page, you'll see the link for the tickets. It's also on the main page as well in the What's New area. So I think there's about sort of 10 tickets left, something like that. It has sold out quite well, or selling quite well, I should say. It's not sold out, but it's selling well. So if you want to come along, if you want to be involved in that, please do. That's going to be such a cool night as well, because logistically, we're all in different areas. So obviously I'm down in sort of Wiltshire. Well, I am Wiltshire, but like I'm not far from Somerset as well, because sort of Trowbridge is sort of just on the crossover from sort of Frome into sort of, you know, Frome, which is Somerset, into Wiltshire. So that's interesting. So I'm almost holding space for both those kind of counties a little bit. And then you've got Mel, that is up in where's she from? Sort of Stoke, I think, isn't it? It's the sort of Stoke area, Stoke-on-Trent. And then we've got Kat, bless her, who's all the way over in Hastings. So we're all at different sort of points energetically. And I think that's really interesting to bring that night together, because that connection or that energy line will have an influence as well on our work. So it's just going to be a great night. So if you're free, come along, get involved. Like I say, it's all for charity. It's one of my Time to Give Back events. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope the cards have made sense today. Stay safe, stay well, have an awesome week, guys, and I'll catch up with some of you lovelies very soon. Take care. Bye for now.